guys, just give me a second. I'm just going to share the link out now that it's up and running. That's better. I had a few issues starting off, but I think we're good now. I think we're good to go. Here we are. I'm just going to share the link out, as I say. Give it a few minutes and then we will start. Please feel free to share the link. Let me know if you have any problems. And if not, we should be all good to go. So I'm just going to share this link out on Twitter and other social media. So just give me a second. Alright, cool. Zachary, thanks for tuning in. What's good? That's good. We'll give it a few minutes and I'll start just sharing the link. So feel free to share the link also if you want. Session shouldn't take too long today. Getting back into it, finish off the year with a few knowledge transfer sessions. It's been a while actually since I last streamed or put up a video. I've been so busy with work and other commitments I've not had the chance to do so. So I think it was September the last time I had a live stream with Dewan and Antonio. So yeah, getting back into it now. So what time are we on? Just past 6 UK time. So I think I'll jump straight in and get started. For those that are tuning in late, they could probably go back and watch this at a later date. So just before I get started, yeah, I've got my Christmassy jumper on today. It was supposed to snow today. My little girl in the background, she's got hers on as well. So we put them both on today, and so far it's not snowed. So here I am with my Christmas jumper on and my Pokemon hat, looking all different, but there we go. So yeah, any questions on that, I'll stop towards the end, or yeah, I'll just take questions at the end, and hopefully I'll be able to answer all the questions that anyone might have. For those that are not watching this live, then feel free to drop me a comment in the comment section below. Just before I jump straight in then, yesterday I started a GoFundMe page, and this is basically so that I can pretty much build a new server, so I can deliver more advanced, more technical sessions next year and for the following years to come. I'm looking at hopefully delivering ICE distributed deployments, working with things like the Cisco Web Security Appliance, the Email Security Appliance, and all the other security products that Cisco has. And to do that, and especially to run these products virtually, I need to be able to run quite a lot of virtual machines, which require quite a lot of resources, and especially RAM. So I thought it'd be a good idea to set up this GoFundMe page. The link's in the description, and it's scrolling down on the screen now. So if you would like to go fund me, I really appreciate that. That'll help me continue delivering sessions like these and the sessions that I have been delivering, for for those that need it and for those that are interested in this sort of stuff. So anyway, let's jump in without further ado. So today's session, we're going to talk about phishing attacks, and the reason I wanted to talk about phishing attacks today is purely because Christmas is 10 days away, and normally around this time of year, sometimes earlier, which we're going to see a little bit later, we normally start to see an increase in phishing attacks, and especially phishing emails, in an attempt to steal people's data. So I wanted to kind of do this session today to raise awareness around that, for those that may be interested and want to share it with their parents or those that are not so tech savvy. This could be useful for them. And also, I guess it's useful for those that are studying towards maybe, Cisco, CCNA security certifications or any of the equivalent, because, you'll come across content that requires you to know what phishing is and what sort of attacks, what sort of different phishing attacks there is. So that's the reason I wanted to do this today. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's jump in. So on today's agenda, we're gonna start off by talking about what is phishing. We're gonna hopefully I'm gonna be able to explain that to you, and then we're gonna look at the different types of phishing attacks. And I've got some real life examples of a deceptive two deceptive phishing attacks that have actually come to me recently. So we're going to take a look at those. I won't have a virtual environment spun up today for this, because, as I say, it is just to raise awareness and hopefully explain what phishing attacks are. But I can definitely show you the real life examples that I've received more recently. And we can go through that and have a look at what we need to look out for, and how we can protect ourselves, which is the next point on the agenda. So what is phishing? So this is my description of phishing. So phishing is a way in which malicious attackers send fraudulent communication, usually in the form of an email. You can do it other ways, but it's usually email. These emails are crafted to look as though they've come from a reputable source to trick the recipient. So what I mean by that is, you might receive an email from, let's say, somebody that requires, or somebody a company that you normally pay your bills to online. You might receive an email from somebody like that, and it looks as though it's come from that reputable company, that real company. However, it's not. So we'll take a look further into this later. So what are the main aims of phishing? Well, it's usually to either steal confidential data or sensitive data and infect the recipient's system with malware. So by stealing confidential data, this could be anything ranging from personal details, records, related to yourself, name, national insurance numbers, things like that. Any data that could, personally identify yourself. And then we've got sensitive data. So when we're talking about sensitive data, we're talking about credit card information, which is, normally one of the biggest aims is to actually steal financial data and either sell that data, or if an attacker actually gets away with the credit card information, then they can use your details to then make online purchases, etc., until that credit card is blocked. So that's one of the main aims. And then just to elaborate a little bit more on the malware side of things, normally it's not the case, but you know, there is cases where people would like to infect systems with malware so that they can you know, either take control of those systems you know, unauthorized, or you know, spread that malware somehow. So that's normally what they want to try and do. So there's different types of phishing. We're going to focus mainly today on the top one, which is deceptive phishing. Now, I've kind of broke it down where, you know, you can kind of see the sort of different targets in which these phishing attempts are aimed at. So we'll start on the top and we'll go down to the bottom and finish off. So deceptive phishing, as I said, this is the one that we're going to focus on mainly today. And this is normally targeting anybody and everybody. And it's an attempt to steal confidential data and or sensitive data, as we just spoke about, or infect the recipient's systems with malware. So this is pretty much what we've just spoke about, and you know, it could be targeted at anybody. And then we've got spear phishing, which is more focused on a specific group of individuals rather than just everybody. So maybe for those that are a little bit more technical, we're looking at more of like a multicast rather than a broadcast. And you know, attackers when they're spear phishing, they study the specific group of individuals using platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so forth. So all those social media platforms where, you know, it's relatively easy to find out about individuals and get information about individuals. And once they've studied them, then they can relate and customize, let's say for instance, an email towards these individuals, you know, in which they're more likely then you know, to click on these emails and you know, put in their details, and potentially again sensitive data can be stolen, or they can be infected with malware. It's the same case, it's just the way in which they do it is slightly different. So yeah, I've also put their closing statement on that one is, you know, they look to, or they can look to then, you know, penetrate a company's network. So when you're looking at targeting a specific set of individuals, you know, normally you'll try and attempt to, you know, maybe find out about, you know, what their company email address is, and you know, the chances are that if it comes through to your company's email, it's you know, more legitimate than coming through to your personal free email, so you're more likely to interact with it. And then we've got whaling, and this is targeted towards CEOs, directors, you know, top level execs, and with this type of attack, we normally spend more time studying an individual. So this is more unicast, so this is individuals, not groups and not everybody, this is individuals. So you know, what we tend to do is we focus on finding out as much information as we could about an individual, and then we'd try and steal things like their login credentials. Now the reason we do this, you know, we do this either whether it be to get the credentials and sell them on to somebody else that's interested, or to get the credentials and use them for your own personal gain, or use them to get into systems and then sell the data that you've managed to extract from those systems. The reason that somebody would want to do this is because execs normally have more privilege to their company's environment than, you know, let's say a receptionist. So if you can get credentials for a CEO or anybody at an exec level, the chances are you're going to be able to access information, privileged information, confidential information, you know, that nobody else could access. So that's what whaling is. And then we've got the last one, which is a type of it is a type of fishing. However, it's called farming. It's not called farming fishing. It's called farming, but it is a type of fishing. And again, this targets everybody. And this is where attackers have the ability to redirect users to fake websites, fraudulent websites that appear to that appear to look real, however they're not. Users can either click links and they're redirected then to a fake website. So let's say, for instance, a link that says www.facebook.com. You click on that link thinking it's Facebook, and then you're redirected to another website that looks like Facebook, but it's not Facebook, and you end up entering your credentials, and then your credentials are then stolen and used for the maybe, let's say, the real Facebook, or sold on whatever it may be. But that's the use case around that. And then I've put there as well, it works by DNS. I'm not going to go too much into DNS because this is a very high level of what phishing is, just to kind of raise awareness to those that are maybe not that tech savvy, and the things to look out for. But normally, if you clicked on a link, you're redirected, the link, so the name, the URL that you put in, so facebook.com, it would query a DNS server, which then returns the IP address and points you in that direction for that server. So this is how fraudulent websites work with fake DNS servers, etc. And you don't just need to, it doesn't just work on links. Let's say, for instance, you've already got a computer that's infected with malware. All it takes for you is to fire up that PC, the malware is running in the background, and then you enter facebook.com or whatever other website. You go on and you're redirected to different websites, or websites that look like the real deal but they're not the real deal. And your credentials are then getting stolen again, or other things are happening. But that's what farming is. So that's a good overview there, I hope, of what the different types of phishing are. I'll quickly stop and see if anybody's got any questions before we move on from these. And then the next section is looking at the real life examples of deceptive phishing. And yeah, I've put a funny meme up there. Hope you like it. Alright, cool. So Zachary is packing up for a cruise, wanted to drop in and say what's up. I appreciate that, Zachary. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you're enjoying it if you're still watching. Rohan, what's good? Thanks for tuning in. I know you're going to discuss preventive measures, but wondering if you'll discuss remedies for infected clients too. I guess we can briefly touch on that towards the end. I think I've got some, I've got the remedies or some things to look out for, and ways that you can potentially protect yourself from phishing, but there is no straight one solution stops phishing sort of thing. But we can have a look at that towards the end, so I hope that helps. So let's get into some real life examples now of deceptive phishing. Let me just bring up the screen. So these examples that I'm going to show you are examples. These are phishing attempts to myself. Just give me a second. Let me just change this over. Alright, cool. So these are phishing attempts that have been made towards myself. September, both in September this year actually. these are companies, legitimate companies. So we have here in the UK, for those that are not in the UK, we have something called TV licensing. Everyone in the UK needs to pay TV licensing, either a yearly or on a monthly basis or whatever it may be. You can pay online, I believe. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it is a legitimate company. So we'll take a look at this phishing attempt first, and then we'll look at ways in which we can identify how this is, a phishing attempt and not a legitimate email. So let's do this. So you can see as this, let me zoom it in here, zoom in. Okay, cool. I'm not going to enable the pictures in the background. I'm going to leave them because I know this is, a phishing attempt. It's not a legitimate source, so I don't want to, this is running on my system. It's not running on a air-gapped VM, if you like. So we're not going to click on any of them. So this email is from TV licensing, apparently, and it says that we've been trying to get in touch with you regarding an overpayment refund. So this is basically telling me that I've paid too much money and they want to give me money back, which anybody who is receiving money back, is going to read the email and see what they can do about getting the money back. So it says that our records indicate that you have paid more than you should have for your TV license fees for 2016 to 2018. We have decided to refund you the total amount which you have overpaid. So that's great. It's like, wow, I'm getting money back. Or at least any unsuspecting person thinks that they are getting money back. Just give me a second. So there's another. We could tell straight away that here, if we're looking at grammaticals, we've got no full stop on the end here. So that's, as little as it may seem, things like that can genuinely happen, but it's things like that being in the security industry and work, being a security professional, these are little things that I tend to look out for. Now, then there's something that got me thinking now when I was looking at this. It says, 1, we've got 24 hours to submit your refund, or I have 24 hours to submit to get my refund, so it's not really a lot of time. I've only just received this email and they're telling me I've only got 24 hours to get my money back. And then it's telling me to follow the instructions on screen, which seems legit enough. So now we need to click get started to submit your refund. If you don't complete the required form, you will not receive your refund. And then we've got a name and some other bits here, TV licensing, all right, reserved, all that stuff. So how do we tell that this is a phishing attempt? And in fact, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put it to you guys. How do we tell that this is a phishing attempt? How do we know that this is not a legitimate email? Maybe what I should have done is not told you that it wasn't a legitimate email and put it to you guys and see what you thought, as to, if it was a legitimate email or not. But anyhow, we know that it's not a legitimate email now. So what are the things that stand out for you to be able to identify that this is not a legitimate email? Thanks for tuning in, Khan. I'm back now. Yeah, it's been since September since I streamed. So yeah, I'm back now. Been very busy with work. So Rohan, normally you would run an AV scan malware bytes, but not sure if that's sufficient. Would it to do a re-image? Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to, unless I'm on a VM, I'm not going to, risk running anything from a phishing email on my system. Rohan's put check the sender's name. So yeah, you're correct. Depending on what application you're on though, normally this email would come through. Let's see if I can get it up. So depending on what application you're on, it would just come up as TV licensing, and the email address is masked. But in our case, it's not. So forget what the content's saying to you at the moment. It's saying that you're getting money back, and everybody jumps at that and thinks, yeah, I'm getting money back, let me fill in the details. These are a few things that I look for, this is what I looked for when identifying that this was not a legitimate email. So I've already pointed out the full stop, which is a grammatical easily done, if you like, error, considering that it's not anywhere else. The grammar seems to be okay. Nothing found there. So Rohan, you're right, TV licensing. Then I'd look further into that, and I'd look at the email. So we can see that this email address is quite dodgy. This is, I think you can, I don't know if you can see that email address. I don't know if I can zoom in, but I'll tell you what, I'll put it on a notepad. If I can type. So let me just copy this onto a notepad. Alright, cool. So everybody should be able to see that now. I'll just separate out a little bit more. Alright, cool. So that is the email address from TV licensing. So mail 1047613, all the rest of the numbers at, and then some more numbers, dot TV license or tvlic.uk. So to me that doesn't look right. It's separated via domains. I would suspect any email coming from the TV licensing would have at tvlicense.co.uk or something similar to that. So this email don't look right to me to start with. So that's one thing I'd look out for. The other thing is links. So normally links are masked within or embedded within emails. So it's telling me to be able to get my refund, I need to fill out a form and I need to click this link. So again, different applications work differently, but when I hover over this application, this link, and I don't click on it, I don't know if you can see the link, but what I'm going to do is I'll type it out. This is the link that I get. HTTP. Solvers. So this is the link that it's telling me to click on for me to be redirected to fill out some form and get my refund. Normally people that are not tech savvy or computer savvy would click on the link and just see what happens. This is where it all falls down with phishing attempts. They pretty much got you there, or they kind of have you there if you redirect it to a malicious website. So this is part of raising awareness that we want to make sure that people don't just click on the links within the emails. Just hover over them first. 9 times out of 10 applications do show you the actual the actual link as I've just got there without clicking on it. So this link, for one, if it's telling me to fill out a form to get my refund, then why is it trying to redirect me to an unsecure website? So to keep it, again, very high level, HTTP versus HTTPS, which is secure. So HTTP is unsecure websites. It's not signed via a CA, a certificate authority. So it doesn't have any certificates to prove that it's legitimate. Whereas a secure website would be HTTPS website.com. And this would mean that this website has been signed by a certificate authority to prove its authenticity. And then there's details around who owns the website, all that good stuff. So if a website is wanting details from me that is supposed to be the TV license giving me a refund, then why are they redirecting me to an unsecure website to have me fill out my details, my personal details, in order to get a refund? That doesn't seem right to me. And then besides that, even if we take that away, look at that website name. Why would the TV licensing have that as a website name? It don't make sense. For starters, this RO is a Romanian website. You know, TV license, as far as I'm not aware, is not in Romania. So why is it redirecting me to a Romanian website? And then Salvez, I don't know what the hell that is. And then you've got /God within the website. So to me, that does not make sense. So that's another standout. Okay. And then there was something else, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah, just basically the contact details. There's no contact details. It's just, you know, we've only got that email address. So what do we do in this situation? Well, if you've not clicked on the phishing email and you know it's a phishing attempt, then you could just leave it, forget about it, delete it, add it to spam, or add it to your spam folder, and you know, forget it ever happened. Or you could, if you're like me, or if you're anybody else that's technical, you could look a little bit further into it and you know, really make sure that it is a phishing attempt. Now, many websites, many companies, many legitimate companies, they actually have email addresses or phone numbers which you can reach them on to verify whether it has been a phishing attempt or whether it has been a legitimate attempt to try and give you your money back, and they should be able to verify that. So what can you do? Well, you could take this email, you could forward this email to you know, the legitimate company. So starters, you know, go on, so what we could do is we could go on the tvlicense.co.uk, I think it is. So let's do that now. Alright, cool. So now we're on the TV licensing website. What I do is I go to contact us. Let me zoom in a little bit more. And you could either enter your questions in here, or there should be a there should be another area, in fact, where you can actually complaint section, maybe there should be another area where you can actually have an email address to reach out to people. Licensing, who are we? Let's see if I can quickly find it. If not, I'll show you what I did anyway. So you can report different things on this website, but yeah, you could just reach out via the contact form and they'll get back to you. However, what I did was, if we just close this email now, what I did was I forwarded the email address. I found the email address to forward things like this to the TV licensing company. And this is the response that I received back. So let me just zoom in. So I got a response the very same day. So if we take a look at the things that I was talking about before, in terms of email addresses, so we can see that this is legitimate. So what you're looking at here now is legitimate from the TV licensing company. What we can see, TV licensing is the same, but if we look at the email address, we have a generic email, inquiries@tvlicensing.co.uk. So that's legitimate, you know, not the string of random numbers and letters that we had before, and not even the domain TV licensing or something similar. This is legitimate. So I forwarded my email to TV licensing at this email address. They've given me a reference, and this is what I said. So I sent them the actual email, as you can see here. It looks like TV licensing are using Forcepoint to scan for malware, which is good. And it looks like these have not been found now, so these may have been blocked, which is good. So their system seems to be working quite good. Anyway, I told them I've reached out to TV licensing about the phishing attempt below. Please see that is looked into. Thanks, Kelvin. Because at the end of the day, we want to try and minimize these things. If we can catch the people that are doing it, even better. So I got a response back saying, "Dear Mr. Charles, thank you for your recent contact. Unfortunately, it's come to light that an email claiming to be from TV licensing has been in circulation, which claims that a TV license refund may be due or something similar. This isn't a genuine TV licensing email, and it appears to be a phishing scam designed to defraud the recipient by redirecting them to an imposter's site." So, you know, we've identified that website. We've identified the false email address, so you know that's good. We're not clicked on it. You can see that the official website is this. It's not secure, so you know, maybe they're not taking any payments. It's just a generic website to contact them and reach out to them, etc. They actually have some guidance, frequently asked questions on phishing, which is good, so people can go and educate themselves. And it also says that the police have been made aware of the issue and would recommend anyone who's entered their details as a result of the fraudulent email should report the fraud to the Action Fraud Helpline via. So this is the guidance that the TV license have given me, and it confirms that my thoughts and intuition was correct in the first place, in that the first email was not a genuine email. So that's good. I've cleared that up. I knew it wasn't genuine from the start, but now we are 100% certain that it's not legitimate. So I've got one more, and then we'll jump into the last section, and then we'll talk about we'll have I'll answer any questions and talk about this a little bit further if anybody wants to. So, in fact, sorry, I've got two more. So, in fact, I actually got another one from TV licensing. I've not actually checked if it's from the same people or if it's the same link. So, it's going to be quite interesting that we can do that together. So, the next one is from the tax office. So, in the UK, we have something called, I'll just zoom in. We have something called the HMRC, which is Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. This is who controls things like national insurance and tax you pay, etc., all that good stuff. So yeah, I got an email from HMRC, and they've told me that they owe me £654.39p. So straight away, anybody looking at that thinks, okay, that's a good sum of money. What do I do to get my money back? You kind of forget about who it's come from, in a sense that you don't check the email address, and you don't really look at the specifics of the email, because you just concentrated on how to get £654.39 back. Apparently this is a second reminder notice, which I didn't receive the first one, so maybe it was lost in translation somewhere. Again, we'll discuss this email a little bit more in a minute, how I worked out that it wasn't real, etc. If you don't register, we'll suffer the consequences of the new law in force. Interesting. So basically, they're saying that they owe me money, but if I don't register, I'm really going to get in trouble, apparently, by the new law that's in force. This means the amount of tax you will pay will change. Okay. You can get a refund fast straight into your bank account. Brilliant. I can get my money straight away. If you claim online through your personal tax account. If you claim online, you could receive your refund within 2 to 5 days. If you don't claim online within the next days, not the next day, next days, that don't really make sense, we will send you a payable order. Okay, interesting. So refund summary, issue date, expiration date. So that's interesting. So the refund, the issuing date is the 21st, but it expires the day after. So it's similar to the phishing attempt on the last email that we got. We had 24 hours to make our mind up. And then we can see we've got a similar link here as to the last one. And then we've got Alison Walsh, which is, any made-up name and any made-up business unit. And this is similar to the last email as well. This bottom bit, note, if you don't complete the required form, you will not receive your refund. This is similar as well. And then you got some extra information here that is just total rubbish. So again, I'll reach out to you guys. How do you, realize that this email address that you've just looked at is not right? How do you know it's phishing emails based off what we've already looked at already? Yeah, not too much on that one, but grammatical errors are pretty common in a lot of the ones I received. That's right, Zachary. Sketchy images in the email, fake Microsoft logo, for example. Yep, stuff like that. Tyrone Sims, good live session, constantly advising associates about scam emails. Yeah, that's the way forward. That's what you need to do. Not even just associates. I mean, family members or those that are less technical than yourself. I'm constantly getting messages from family and forwarding me these sorts of emails to validate whether they are real or fake. So hopefully this video brings light to the things that we need to look out for, and hopefully helps to protect them as well. Not sure how to, well, for an infected client I would run an AV scan, but not sure if that is sufficient. So Rohan, yeah, I mean, if there's already malware on the system, and depending on the AV that you've got installed, if it's up to date, etc., it might pick up any malware that's already running once it's detected. If there's no malware on the system and you've just got a phishing email, then no, it's not gonna probably detect that, because that's not what it's looking for. Anything else you would recommend other than re-image? Sorry for jumping ahead. No, it's fine, no problem. So I mean, you can attempt to ensure that your PC is clean once you've removed everything. Once you've if you find out that it has got malware, and you remove it. But it depends on the individual. It depends if it's your personal laptop or company laptop or computer device, whatever it may be. Me being security conscious, I would probably wipe my system and reinstall everything, or restore it back to a snapshot if you've got snapshots or stuff like that configured. So refer it to the users that click on the link. Yeah, alright, cool. So let's jump in then and have a look at this. So again, just turn me that heater off, please. Getting a bit warm in here. So again, what we'd do is we'd look at the name. So this name looks different actually. So even though it's HMRC, it's hmrc.office.tax. So to me it's like, okay, that don't really add up. Oh, sorry, it's hmrc.office. Anyway, then we've got the email address, tax-support.mail. So we've kind of got a similar email address to the last one. In fact, let's have a look at that. Did I remove that? Oh, the better removed, isn't it? Make this bigger. So yeah, it's similar mail. The numbers are different. 296 is the same. 294, so that's different. So it's slightly different, but it's the same kind of format that we see. And then we've got revenuenetinfo.co.uk. That don't really add up to me. I don't think a legitimate company would be, have a domain like that. Just give me a sec. Yeah. So yeah, that's one. The email address again. Return ID. So I guess this is just loads of numbers to make it look like a legitimate email. And then we've got what looks to be, if you look at the grammar again in this, to me things that stand out are the fact that this has got 2 spaces here instead of 1. So a lot of people won't really recognize that, but it's got 2 spaces there instead of 1. We pointed out some grammar down at the bottom somewhere. We pointed out things like this, 24 hours to claim your own money back, and the fact that they're trying to use some scare tactics here, saying that if we don't do this, then we'll suffer the consequences of new law in force. Okay. And then this is similar to what this bottom bit, like I pointed out, is similar to what we got in the last email as well. So let's take a look at the link without clicking on it. Alright, so we've got another unsecure system, or website, sorry. I'll just write this out. Just give me a second and I'll write this website address out. And then it's got some other stuff. I'm not going to type it all out, but that's pretty much the link that we would be clicking on. This is pretty much where we would be going. So this don't look right to me, being from a tax office, and I'm sure it don't look right to you guys either. So that's how I would identify this as being a not a legitimate email. And also the fact that it's telling me that I've already received the second. This is a second reminder when I didn't receive the first reminder. The second managed to get to me, so where's the first one gone? So I didn't do anything about this one. I left this one as another demonstration for yourselves, and I didn't do anything with that. And now the last one again came from the so-called TV licensing. So let's just quickly zoom in on this one and we'll finish off. We won't spend too much time on this because I think we've been able to address how we actually identify phishing attempts now, or phishing emails. So this is telling me, so pretty much here, this looks like a generic email. This looks like it's supposed to be embedded here. This is probably being sent out to a lot of people, and then there's probably something here that replaces each email address with a different email address. But hello, why would you send hello like that? Again, the email address, I don't know if you can see that, but that is very long. Yeah, that is very long. Yeah, that is very long. I'm not even going to attempt to write that. Yeah, and then we've got an email telling me that I registered with the TV licensing portal. I don't remember doing that. And then it also tells me that I'm going to receive a refund of £341.70. So that's another thing, sorry, that I've not pointed out. The balances or the amount of money that you're supposed to receive back in these emails, they seem kind of legitimate in the sense that they don't just put £400 or they don't round it up to a number. They actually mess about with the numbers to try and make it look legitimate and throw people off. But this is telling me I'm going to receive a refund directly to my credit card. Why are you going to refund me to my credit card? When I've got a debit card and all the other stuff. And then it's telling me to log into the TV licensing portal in order to receive this refund. I received this email on... when did I receive the email? The 5th of the 12th, I received this email, and then it's telling me that the link expires on the very same day as well. I have to have my credit card, so basically I have to have my card details ready, and I have to follow the instructions on the screen. I've got some rubbish transaction ID. And then you've kind of got at the bottom of this email, it's kind of funny. So I think what they're trying to get you to do is enter your card details on the website that you're going to be redirected to. And then they've put like a little disclaimer at the bottom here saying a refund can be delayed for a variety of reasons. For example, submitting invalid records or applying after a deadline. So what this is saying is that if you fall victim to this and you put in your details, you're not going to see a refund pretty much right away, or you're not going to receive a refund at all anyway. But they're trying to get you to put in your details and not worry about or check up why this payment hasn't come through straight away. That's what they're trying to do. So if we look at this link, yeah, I'm not even going to type that out because that's quite long. But yeah, that is definitely not a link I would be going to. Yeah, it's just not legit. It's kind of like the ones that we've already looked at anyway. So yeah, that's how we identify phishing attempts, deceptive phishing attempts via email. I hope that those that are watching live and those that are watching this on a replay have found this useful so far, and that you now know what to look out for before clicking on links in emails that look suspicious, or any email that's claiming that they owe you money. So this slide's a little bit funny. So how to protect ourselves from phishing attacks. I think we've already touched on quite a lot of these within the comments that have been made, the questions that have been asked, and also the as we've been looking through the emails, I think we've touched on these as well. This, as I said at the start, is more related to bring awareness to individuals rather than speaking about it from a company aspect. However, I did break it up into two. I didn't put anything in the companies apart from Cisco. Yes, I am biased. I work for Cisco, so I'm going to recommend Cisco solutions. So let's just clear the company side first, because it's going to be quite easy. Then we can run through the list that I've got for the home users. So with the company side, I've literally just put Cisco there because, and to be honest, you could have other vendors as well, but as I say, I am biased. Now there was a question earlier, I believe, from Rohan. Now I don't think one solution fits all. Yes, Cisco does have the ESA, or the email security appliance. That does a good job in stopping things like this, as well as doing other things. We've got the web security appliance. We have a multitude of features that work on these products to stop things like redirections to malicious domains, stuff like that. There is a lot to talk about and discuss in that. But I guess what I would say is that it's more of a defense in depth approach. Is not everything will be stopped. You hope so within companies, but not everything will be stopped. So you need to look at defense in depth, and that, by that I mean firewalls only allowing certain traffic in, certain traffic out. The solutions that you're actually using, the email security appliances, AV solutions, proxy servers, things like that. You need to. It's a defense in depth approach that can minimize. I wouldn't say get rid of. I'd say minimize these potential phishing attempts on a company network, and that can protect yourselves. So I hope that kind of answers the question on that side very briefly. And then moving over to the home users, so this is kind of what we've been looking at today. So the phishing attempts that I showed you are real phishing attempts, and these are phishing attempts that came to me. So I thought it'd be useful to actually show you real attempts rather than just putting a slideshow up and giving you examples. So home users can protect themselves from phishing attacks by using things such as antivirus software. So if you have malware running on your computer, or viruses, stuff like that, hopefully these sort of solutions can pick up things like this and get rid of that. Then we've got things like endpoint firewalls. So when the Windows devices have inbuilt firewalls that can protect you to a certain extent. You can get different solutions that work. But yeah, if you make sure that you've got that firewall, if you're on Windows, you make sure you've got that firewall enabled. And then one that we touched on, which I think is really important, especially for users that are less technical, is educate yourself and your family. Make sure that even things like this video, if you enjoyed the video, you found it useful, or you feel like somebody in your family or friends can learn from this and protect them, then share this video. Share guides with them, share information about phishing attacks, share it with them, because we're in 2018, nearly 2019. Everybody, even my child, has an email address. So it's all about bringing everybody up to scratch with these sorts of threats and the potential for attack, and making them aware so that they don't fall victim to these sort of things. So check the email address. We did that on every single email that we've just looked at, to identify things that don't look right. So make sure you look out for that. Don't give your information to just anybody, and by that I mean even before you click on a link, if you did actually click on a link, or you were thinking about clicking on a link and it did look so legitimate you couldn't tell, ring the company, speak to a company, give them any reference numbers you have or things like that. Make sure you are on the right company's website. Make sure you're speaking to the right people, and verify that things are legitimate before you give information, such personal information out. By reference numbers, if you actually deal with the company or have dealt with the company, you should have things like reference numbers in which they can refer to in order to bring details up. So it should be kind of like a mutual authentication sort of thing. Don't just click on any link, and beware of shortened links. So we've looked at ways we can find out what the link is without clicking on the actual link. So do make sure that you do that first. Don't click on the link and hope for the best, because there is a potential that something could fire up in the background and infect your PC and render it totally useless, or even worse, you could put in your details and have your bank account emptied. And the last bit where I put about the shortened linked, so what you could do is, so people have, or there's websites where you can go on and you can put a full link in to make it shorter. I think one's like bit.ly, I think it is, or something like that. And then you'll get like a load of numbers and letters. Don't just click on those. In fact, don't click on those links. I'd advise you not to click on those links, especially if it's coming from emails such as the ones that we've seen today. And if it seems too good to be true, then it probably is. Don't just look at the figure on the email, because this is what some people do. They look at the money that's been that's been advertised, that's going to be coming back to yourselves. And especially around this time of year, Christmas, people might be looking for every penny that they can get, so they totally disregard everything else in the email and just click through and put in the details and hope for the best. And then they found out that they've been a victim to fraud, and the chances of finding these people aren't very great. So yeah, if it seems too good to be true, then it is. And like I say, if you're unsure, ring the company and validate everything before you can proceed. And yeah, I guess that's my next point. If the email is from a legitimate company, call or email them. I'd suggest calling them directly, because anybody could be on the other side of an email and sending an email back. And we spoke about the links, HTTP versus HTTPS. Make sure that if anything is requesting, any website is requesting payment details or personal details, then make sure, these websites should theoretically be using HTTPS secure browsers, and should have secure payment methods, etc. So make sure that when you're on with these sorts of websites, that is true. And that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed this session today. I'll just see if there's any questions, or if anybody's got any questions, and then if not, we can end it there. But yeah, I hope anybody that knows somebody that's less technical that might find this useful. I have tried to keep it as high level as possible. Feel free to share this video with them. I will put it on my website, www.networkwizkid.co.uk. The link's scrolling down at the bottom as well on your screen. If you're not following me on Twitter, Instagram, things like that, again, you can follow me on those platforms. I'm constantly posting. The links are now on the bottom of the screen as well. And yeah, just to kind of reiterate my what I said at the start of this video, yesterday I set up a GoFundMe page, and the intentions were that anybody that feels free to feel free to support that, and feel free to support me in that. This coming year, 2019 and so on, I'm looking at building more sophisticated labs, more advanced labs, and delivering a lot more content that, you know, helps the community, the Lab Everyday community, and everybody else that's interested in this sort of stuff. And to do that, I am going to need quite a powerful server. So I thought it'd be worth just setting up a GoFundMe page just to kind of assist in that. You know, everything I do, like these sessions now, it is in my own time. You know, I don't get paid for doing this. Cisco don't pay me. I don't, you know, it's nothing like that. So it's just purely my passion to help you guys, and, you know, to spread this knowledge and give you guys this information to help and ensure that you guys also pass your certifications or learn as much as you can. So, you know, I'd appreciate it if you know, you guys feel free to support that. But yeah, without further ado, I'll just see if there's any more questions. I don't think there is. Yeah, I answered the re-imaging one, referring to the users that click on the link. Good info, thanks Rohan, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for watching. I appreciate that. I don't think there's any more questions, so if there's any more questions after this video, just drop them in the comment section and I'll get back to you. But thanks for watching and have a good day.